She opened the door before the sun rose, drawn by the sound of scratching. Cold air stung her face. The porch rail shimmered silver with frost, and a boy stood there, his finger dragging slow across the white. She saw letters forming, a name, her husband's name. Her breath caught. "What are you doing?" Her voice cracked. The boy didn't look at her. "Just writing." "You wrote his name?" He shrugged, his thin shoulders barely moving. "It came to me." Her hand gripped the door frame until her knuckles ached. "Don't play games here. That name belongs to the dead." He turned then, eyes flat, not frightened. "I heard it in the dark." Her stomach twisted. She stepped onto the porch, boots scraping the wood. "Who told you?" "No one." "Don't lie to me." "I'm not." The frost still glistened with the letters. Her husband's name. The sight hollowed her chest. She wanted to wipe it away, but her body wouldn't move. "You know what that means?" she asked. The boy shook his head. "It was just there." "Just there." "Yes." "Where do you come from?" He glanced at the empty road. "Here now." "That's not what I asked." Silence. He pulled his finger over the frost again, starting another curve. She slapped his hand away. "Stop that." He flinched but didn't cry. "Why are you mad? You don't scrawl the names of the dead. Not on my porch. Not in this house." "It's only a name." Her voice dropped. "It's not only a name. It was my husband." He studied her face. "He's still close." Her chest tightened. "Don't say that." "I can feel him." She stepped back, shaking her head. "You don't know what you're saying. You don't know anything about him. I know his name. That doesn't mean you know him." The boy's eyes narrowed. "You miss him." Her throat burned. She turned away, gripping her arms against the cold. The porch boards creaked as the boy shifted. She wanted him gone, but his presence pressed against her silence like a weight. "You'll leave now," she said. "No." Her eyes snapped back. "What do you mean, no?" "I can't." "You can, and you will." "I can't." "Why not?" "The dark told me to stay." The words chilled her deeper than the frost. "What dark?" He looked past her into the house. Inside. Her skin crawled. She stepped between him and the doorway. "You don't come in here. Ever." "I don't want to." "Then leave." He shook his head again. His stubbornness burned her patience, but fear undercut her anger. He wasn't like other boys. He spoke too plain, too certain. "What's your name?" she asked. He hesitated. "I don't remember." "You don't remember your own name?" "No." "That's a lie." He looked down at the frost. "I only remember him." Her husband's name gleamed in the weak light. She rubbed her sleeve over it, scraping it away, until only streaks of wet wood remained. Her hand shook. "You won't write it again." He said nothing. "Do you understand me?" "Yes." But his voice carried no fear, no promise, just flat obedience without meaning. She stepped closer, lowering her voice. "Where did you sleep last night?" "By the fence." "And before that?" "The churchyard." She swallowed hard. "That's no place for a child." He looked up, face pale in the morning light. "It's full of names." Her breath caught again. "I like names," he said. "You don't get to like names that aren't yours." "They're not gone." "They're gone," she snapped. "Every one of them is gone." They talk. The air between them grew heavy. She stared at him, waiting for some flicker of a smile, a cruel joke. But he was plain, his voice steady. "You're lying." "I'm not." "They don't talk." "They told me his name." Her chest heaved, a mix of grief and fury. "Enough." He tilted his head. "You don't want me here." "No." "But I have to stay." "You'll not stay here." "Where then?" "Anywhere but here." He studied her with calm eyes that made her uneasy. "He wouldn't want me gone." Her breath hitched. "Don't you dare speak for him." "I didn't." "He did." She froze. The porch fell silent, but for her breathing. She searched his face for any sign of mischief, but his expression held only that same eerie calm. Finally, she whispered, "You're a cruel boy." He didn't flinch. "I'm only telling." Her hands trembled at her sides. She wanted to drag him down the steps, push him toward the road, but her feet stayed rooted. Something about him, his stillness, his blunt words, felt heavier than the boy himself. She backed toward the doorway. "You'll be gone when I come out again." He said nothing. "Do you hear me?" "Yes." But she didn't believe him. She stepped inside and closed the door, her breath ragged. Through the crack in the curtain, she watched him. He sat on the porch rail, staring at the wood where her husband's name had been. Her fingers tightened on the fabric. The boy wasn't leaving, and deep inside, beneath the anger and fear, a part of her knew he was right. The dead didn't stay quiet here. She opened the door again after an hour, certain he would be gone. He wasn't. The boy still sat on the porch rail, boots swinging above the frost, staring at the empty road like he was waiting for something only he could see. "I told you to leave." Her voice was sharp. "I heard you." "Then why are you still here?" "I said I can't." Her jaw tightened. "Can't or won't. Same thing." "Not here. It isn't." He finally looked at her. His face was calm. Too calm. "You don't want me here." "No, I don't." "But he does." Her chest ached. "Don't you put words in his mouth." "I didn't," he said to them. She gripped the doorframe. "You're a liar." "I'm not." Her body tensed, anger mixing with something colder. She stepped closer. "I don't know who told you about him, but you'll not come here and use his name to haunt me. I'm not haunting you." "You are." "I'm only staying." The words came so plain, so blunt, they rattled her more than if he'd shouted. "You've got no right to stay." "I've got nowhere else. There's the road. There's the town. There's 100 places you can go." "They don't want me." "You think I do?" "Yes." Her breath caught. "You don't know what you're talking about." "I do." His steady voice pressed against her nerves like a blade. She looked at the frost still clinging to the rail. The letters were gone, melted by the weak sun, but she saw them anyway. "You need to leave," she said again, quieter now. "No." The sound of a wagon on the road broke the silence. She turned her head and saw two neighbors, an older woman and her son, slowing their mule, their eyes fixed on the boy. "You've got company," the boy said. She glared at him, then stepped down from the porch. "Morning," she called to the neighbors. The older woman didn't return the greeting. "We heard talk," she said. "Talk of what?" The son pointed at the boy. "Him." She crossed her arms. "He's just a boy." The older woman's voice dropped low. "He's not just a boy. We've seen signs. Animals restless, dogs howling through the night, frost where it shouldn't be." Her eyes narrowed. "And you blame him for that?" The woman's gaze lingered on the porch rail. "Names in the frost. We heard." Her stomach clenched. "You heard wrong." "No, we didn't," the son said. "He writes what he shouldn't know. Names of the gone." The boy's voice cut in behind her. "They're not gone." She spun back toward him. "Quiet." He looked past her at the neighbors. "Your brother's name, too." The son stiffened. "What did you say?" The boy spoke flat, without fear. "He's not at rest." The older woman gasped, clutching her shawl tighter. "Don't listen to him. He's a bad sign. Always was." The son's eyes burned with anger. "How does he know?" She raised her hand. "That's enough. He's only a child." "He's no child," the older woman whispered. The son tugged at the mule's reins. "You'd best send him off before worse comes." They turned the wagon and rolled away, the sound of hooves fading down the road. She stood frozen, staring after them until the boy's voice broke through. "They're scared." She wheeled on him. "You gave them reason." "They already had a reason." "You could have kept your mouth shut." "I don't keep names shut." "You think it makes you wise, saying things that cut people open?" "I don't think so." "You should." "Then I wouldn't hear." Her breath grew ragged. "Hear what?" "Them." She wanted to scream, to shake him until his strange calm cracked. Instead, she rubbed her hands over her face, trying to block out his words. "You need to go," she said again. "For your sake and mine." "I told you, I can't." Her voice rose. "Why?" "Because he told me not to." Her knees weakened. She gripped the rail for balance. "Don't. Not again." "He did." "You never knew him." "I know enough." "You know nothing." The boy's gaze stayed locked on hers. "He said you'd fight this." She stumbled back a step, air catching in her throat. "He said you'd try to send me away," the boy added. She shook her head. "You're twisting things." "I'm not." "He's dead. You hear me?" "Dead. He doesn't speak." The boy leaned forward slightly, his voice low. "Then how do I know his name?" Her skin prickled. She wanted to deny it again, but the words stuck. She turned away, staring at the yard, at the dry grass rimmed with frost. "You'll ruin me." she whispered. I won't. You already have. He slid down from the rail, standing barefoot on the porch boards. His small frame looked fragile, but his stillness unnerved her more than any show of strength. I'll stay, he said. No. Yes. Her chest heaved. I'll drag you off this land myself. You won't. Don't test me. I don't have to. The door behind her seemed heavier now, the house darker. She wanted to shut him out, but some part of her couldn't move. His presence pinned her where she stood. You're a curse, she said. He tilted his head. Maybe. That's no answer. It's the only one. Her voice dropped to a raw whisper. Why me? Why my house? He didn't answer right away. He looked toward the empty road again. Then he spoke softly. Because you listen. The words hit harder than any threat. She wanted to deny them, to shout him down, but she stayed quiet. The wind stirred across the yard. Her husband's name was gone from the frost, but she saw it anyway, burned into her memory. She closed her eyes. God help me. The boy's reply came quickly. He won't. Her eyes snapped open. You watch your mouth. I only told the truth. No, you said cruelty. Same thing. She turned away, gripping her arms tight, fighting back the tremor in her chest. She wanted him gone more than anything, yet feared what it meant if he truly left. Behind her, his voice settled quietly. I'll be here tomorrow, too. Her body went rigid. She didn't answer. She stepped inside, shutting the door hard, but the sound did nothing to break his hold. She pressed her back against the wood, eyes burning, breath shallow. Outside, the boy's shadow stretched long across her porch. He wasn't leaving, and she knew deep down neither was the truth he carried. The sound of hooves cracked the morning quiet. She looked up from the porch and saw the sheriff riding down the lane, his coat heavy, his hat pulled low, his face set like stone. Dust rose under the horse's hooves as he drew closer, his gaze fixed on the boy still sitting on her porch rail. The horse stopped at the gate. The sheriff dismounted slowly, his boots sinking in the dirt. He rested one hand on the saddle horn, the other on his belt. You got something to tell me? His voice was low, hard. She stood stiff. About what? He nodded toward the boy. About him. There's nothing to tell. There's plenty to tell. Folks are whispering, names in the frost, dead names, and a boy no one knows sitting on your porch. She clenched her jaw. Whispers aren't true. They're close enough. They're afraid. Fear doesn't rise out of nothing. Her eyes cut to the boy, silent, staring down at the dirt. He's just a child. The sheriff's mouth tightened. What do you think? That's what I know. He stepped closer to the gate. You've always been quick to take in strays, but this one, he's different. You feel the same as I do. I don't feel anything but folks poking where they shouldn't. You watch yourself. His voice sharpened. This land doesn't need more trouble. She straightened, folding her arms. I didn't ask for your warning. He leaned against the post, eyes narrowing. I'm giving it anyway, for your sake. Her voice cut like glass. Since when do you care for my sake? Silence. His jaw worked, but no words came. Finally, he turned his attention to the boy. What's your name? The boy didn't look up. I said, what's your name? Still silent. The sheriff's boots shifted against the dirt. Answer me, boy. The boy's voice came flat, quiet. I don't remember. The sheriff frowned. Don't play dumb. I'm not. You remember where you come from? No. The sheriff's tone grew sharp. Do you remember anything at all? The boy raised his eyes then, calm, steady. I remember graves. A chill cut through her. She stepped forward fast. That's enough. But the boy didn't stop. Do you remember yours? The sheriff froze. His face went pale under the brim of his hat. What did you say? The boy tilted his head. Your father's grave. Do you remember it? Silence pressed heavy over the yard. The sheriff's hand twitched at his belt, then dropped. Who told you that? His voice cracked with anger. No one. Then how? He stopped, swallowing hard. You shut your mouth. The boy blinked, slowly, his voice flat again. You already forgot him. Her breath caught. Enough, she snapped. But the sheriff's eyes stayed locked on the boy. His anger was sharp, but underneath it, something else flickered. Fear. You don't speak of my father, the sheriff said. I just did. The sheriff took a step forward. She moved quickly, blocking his path. You lay a hand on him and you'll regret it." His eyes burned into hers. "You don't know what you're keeping here. He's a boy. That's all." "He's not. You feel it. Everyone does. You want me to turn him out in the cold because he makes folks uneasy? I want you to think, to protect yourself. I can protect myself." He lowered his voice, sharp as a blade. "You think you can, but this isn't about you. It's about what spreads when fear starts. You've seen it before." She flinched but stood her ground. "I won't cast him out. You'll regret that. Maybe, but it'll be my choice." The sheriff's face hardened. "You always were stubborn, and you always were a coward." The words struck. His mouth opened, then closed. He stepped back from the gate, his boots grinding in the dirt. "You'll regret it," he repeated, voice lower now. She didn't answer. He mounted his horse slowly, his jaw tight, eyes on the boy. The boy didn't look back. He just stared down at his bare feet, as if none of it touched him. The sheriff pulled the reins. The horse turned, hooves thudding on the road. She stood still, watching him ride away, the dust hanging in the air. Her chest burned with anger, but underneath it, unease crawled deeper. When the sheriff was gone, she turned to the boy. "Why would you say that?" He looked up at her, calm as ever. "Because it's true. You don't know that. I do. You can't keep cutting people open like that. He'll come back." "I know." Her voice trembled. "He'll hurt you." The boy shook his head. "He can't." She gripped her arms tight, staring at him. The frost had melted, but she still saw the shimmer of names across the rail, and she knew the sheriff would return. She came in from the yard, shoulders still tight from watching the sheriff ride off, and found the boy sitting at her table. The old ledger lay open in front of him, its cracked leather spine bent, its yellow pages spread wide. Dust lifted in the dim light, stirred by his fingers, tracing slowly across the paper. Her chest seized. "Where did you find that?" He didn't look up. "Drawer." "You don't go through my things." "I was looking." "For what?" "Names." Her stomach twisted. She stepped forward fast, grabbing the edge of the table. "Close it." He kept his finger on the page. "You wrote them all down." "Stop." His lips moved, reading in a low voice. "Samuel, Ruth, Elias, Anna." Her breath broke. "Don't say them. They're here. They're gone." He shook his head, still staring at the faded ink. "Not gone. Not for you." Her hand slammed the table. "I said stop." His eyes lifted then, calm and strange. "You don't want to remember, but you do." She gritted her teeth. "You know nothing about this book." "I know enough." "No, you don't. Those names belong to blood and years. You couldn't know them." He turned a page, slow, deliberate. "I know this one." His finger tapped a line. She shoved his hand away. "Don't you touch it." Her voice rose, but the boy didn't flinch. "You're scared." "I'm angry." "Same thing." Her jaw locked. She stared at the ledger, the ink scrawled by her husband's hand years ago. It wasn't meant for anyone else to see, least of all this strange child. He spoke again, steady. "Why write them if you want them buried?" Her throat burned. "Because he said so." "Your husband." She nodded once tight. "He wanted you to keep them alive." "No." "Yes." "You twist everything." He tilted his head. "Why deny it?" "Because the dead need rest." "Then why keep their names in ink?" Her breath came sharp. She wanted to snatch the ledger away, to burn it, but her body stayed rooted. The boy leaned over the pages. "Here," he read again. "Elias, he drowned." Her heart lurched. "How would you know that?" "I told you. They tell me." "You lie." "I don't." "You couldn't know. No one alive remembers Elias." "I do." Her hands trembled as she reached down, snapping the ledger shut. The sound cracked through the room, heavy and final. Dust flew up in a thin cloud. "No more," she said. He looked at the closed book, then back at her. "That doesn't stop them." Her voice dropped to a whisper. "It stops you." He folded his small hands on the table. "It doesn't stop me either." She wanted to scream. Instead, she pulled the ledger close and held it tight against her chest, as if it might slip away. He spoke again, voice softer. "You kept it because you're like me." Her head snapped up. "I'm nothing like you." "You listen." Her breath shook. I listen to the living, not the dead. You listen to both." Her throat tightened. She turned toward the fire, trying to shake the weight of his words. The ledger felt like stone in her hands. Behind her, the boy said, "Your husband's name is here too." Her chest ached. "I know. You don't want me to say it." "No." "But you want to hear it." Her voice cracked. "No." "Yes." She turned, eyes wet, anger rushing back to cover her grief. "You'll not speak it again. Do you understand?" He met her gaze, silent. "Say it," she demanded. "I understand." Her body slumped with exhaustion. She laid the ledger on the mantel, high out of his reach. The boy followed her with his eyes, calm as ever. "You can put it away," he said, "but it's still in you." Her hands clenched. "If you open that drawer again, you'll regret it." "I won't need to." "Why?" "I already saw." Her chest rose heavy. She wanted to banish him, drag him to the road, but his words clung, burrowed deep. He had seen too much, spoken too plain. Silence stretched. The fire crackled low. Dust settled back across the table. She finally said, "You'll ruin this house." He shook his head. "It was ruined before I came." Her breath caught, her eyes fixed on him. She couldn't deny the truth in it. The room felt smaller, the walls heavy with names unspoken, yet remembered. The ledger sat closed, but its weight pressed on her chest like it was still in her arms. She whispered to herself more than to him, "I should have burned it." The boy's voice cut through. "You couldn't." Her eyes snapped to him. "Why not?" "Because then you'd lose him too." Her knees weakened. She gripped the edge of the mantel. "You see?" he said. Her silence was enough. She split the first log with such force the axe buried deep into the block beneath. The crack rang across the yard. Cold air burned her lungs, but she swung again, faster, harder, as if the wood itself had wronged her. The boy stood near the barn, watching. His small voice cut through the thud of the axe. "Why are you mad?" She yanked the blade free. "Because you don't listen." "I listen." "You don't. You ask and you pry, and you won't stop. That's listening." Her jaw tightened. She swung again, the wood snapping in two. Pieces fell at her boots. "Why did he die?" the boy asked. The axe froze midair. Her breath hitched. She lowered it slowly, gripping the handle tight. "You don't ask that." "I just did." "You don't again." "Why not?" Her eyes burned. "Because it's mine, not yours." He stepped closer. Was it the sheriff? The question landed heavy. She turned, glare sharp. "Who told you that?" "No one." "You're guessing." "Number I heard it." Her voice cracked. "You don't know what you're talking about." He tilted his head. "Then tell me." She threw another log onto the block. The axe came down hard, the sound sharp and final. "You don't need to know." "I already do." Her breath grew ragged. She gathered the split wood in her arms, stomping toward the shed. The boy followed, his feet crunching frost. "Why does no one talk about the well?" he asked. Her body stiffened. The wood slipped from her arms, thudding to the ground. She turned fast, eyes wide. "What well?" He pointed behind the barn. "That one." Her stomach dropped. "You stay away from it." "Why?" "Because I said so." "That's not an answer." "It's the only one you'll get." He stared at her, unblinking. "Something's in it." Her voice dropped low. "Nothing's in it." "Then why cover it?" Her throat closed. She pressed her hands against her skirt, trying to steady them. "Because it's old. Because it's dangerous." He stepped closer. "Because he's in it." Her chest seized. She slapped his arm hard enough to sting her own hand. "Don't you ever say that again." The boy didn't flinch. "Then tell me the truth." "I told you." "No, you didn't." Her voice rose. "I don't owe you anything." "You do." "Why?" "Because he sent me." Her breath rattled. "Stop it." "He did." "You're cruel." "I'm only saying." She turned away, marching toward the chicken coop. Her hands shook as she scattered feed, the birds clucking and pecking around her boots. The boy leaned against the fence, still watching. "You miss him," he said. She gritted her teeth. "Of course I do." "You don't say it." "I don't need to." "You don't cry either." She slammed the feed bucket down. "That's enough." "Why not?" Her chest heaved. "Because crying won't bring him back. Because talking won't change what happened. Because some things rot in silence, and that's where they belong." The boy's voice softened. Silence doesn't keep them down. Her eyes snapped to him. It does if you're strong enough. Are you? She stared at him, her lips trembling but no words coming. She turned away, shoving the coupe door shut. The yard felt smaller with him in it, his voice wrapping around her no matter how far she walked. She picked up the axe again, forcing herself back to the block. The blade rose and fell, splitting wood with violent rhythm, her body pushing past its own fatigue. You'll break yourself, the boy said. Good. Why good? Because then I'll stop feeling. You won't. I will. Number you'll just feel more. Her body stilled. The axe hung in her grip, her knuckles white. She turned, her face streaked with sweat, though the air was cold. You don't know what it is to feel. I do. You don't. I feel all of them. The words cut deep. She dropped the axe, the blade sinking into the dirt. Her shoulders shook as she pressed her palms against her face. The boy's voice came softer now. Why don't they say his name in town? She lowered her hands, eyes red. Because it's easier. For them or for you. She looked at him long, then turned away. Both. The boy bent, picking up one of the split logs. He studied it like it carried meaning. You keep swinging because you don't want to stop thinking. Her voice cracked. I swing because it keeps me warm. You're already burning. Her eyes watered again. She shook her head. You're wrong. I'm not. She knelt, gathering more wood. The boy set the log back down, his small hand brushing frost off the top. You're scared of the well, he said. I'm not. You are. I told you, it's dangerous. That's not why. Her chest heaved. She stacked the wood high in her arms, forcing herself to move, to keep busy. The boy followed close, his words sharp as her axe. You know what's in it. Her voice dropped near a whisper. Stop. You won't look at it. Stop. You cover it so no one else does. Stop. He stepped in front of her, blocking her path. Is it him? Her knees nearly buckled under the weight in her arms. She pushed past him, dumping the wood inside the shed with a heavy crash. She leaned against the doorframe, gasping for air. The boy's voice came from behind her, steady. You don't have to tell me. I already know. She pressed her forehead to the wood, eyes shut tight. The silence after his words felt heavier than any sound. She whispered, broken. Then you know more than you should. The smoke hit her first, bitter and sharp, curling through the cracks of the barn. She dropped the bucket she carried and ran, heart pounding, the boy already sprinting ahead toward the old well house. Flames licked up the side of the weathered boards, fire snapping against the cold morning air. The roof sagged under heat, sparks flying like angry wasps. She shouted, voice hoarse, get back. The boy grabbed a half-full bucket left near the trough. We can stop it. Too strong, she barked. Not yet. He flung water across the boards, the steam hissing. She grabbed another bucket, hauling water from the trough. The villagers were coming now, drawn by the smoke. Men, women, children gathering at the fence line, whispering. Why would it start here, someone said. Bad land, another muttered. Cursed. She hurled water at the flames, teeth grit. Don't just stand there. Help! The villagers hesitated, exchanging glances, murmuring about omens. Are you deaf? She screamed. Finally, one man jogged forward, filling a bucket, then another followed. Soon the rhythm of water sloshing and steam hissing filled the air, but the whispers never stopped. The boy stayed at her side, his small arms straining with every lift of the bucket. She fought the fire like it was alive, every breath smoke-filled, every muscle aching. Why here? She coughed. The boy's answer was flat. Because it wanted to. She glared at him. That's not an answer. Yes, it is. The villagers kept muttering even as they worked. Saw him near it yesterday. Said the well held names. He's brought this. Her chest heaved. Shut your mouths and throw. For long minutes it was only buckets, smoke, and angry breath. Then at last the flames shrank, boards blackening, roof sagging inward with a groan before the fire choked. Itself dead. Silence followed, broken only by coughs. Steam rose off the charred beams. She wiped her face with her sleeve, trembling. It's done. The boy stepped close to the stone base of the well house, eyes fixed. Not done. Her gut twisted. What do you mean not done? He pointed at the stones. Look. She followed his gaze. Dark shapes marked the old rock, burned into the surface itself. At first it looked like soot. Then the shapes sharpened. Letters. Names. Her husband's among them, others too. The same the boy had whispered, the same he had traced in frost. Her legs weakened. She whispered, "No." The villagers crowded closer, murmurs rising again. Names. God help us. Cursed land. She shook her head, voice breaking. It's nothing, just fire marks. The boy's voice cut through steady. It's them. Quiet. They want you to see. Stop. They wanted everyone to. The villagers' fear thickened. A woman clutched her child tight. A man spat in the dirt. Told you, this ground's no good. Should have burned years ago. She turned on them, raw and furious. This ground fed you. My husband bled on it. You'll not spit here. The man's jaw tightened. He's the one bringing it back. He pointed at the boy. The crowd murmured, nodding, shifting. She stepped in front of the boy, her voice iron. He's just a child. Child or curse, it's the same. Another muttered. Go back to your homes, she said. There's no curse here. But the words felt thin even to her own ears. Her eyes drifted again to the stone, to the clear letters burned deep. She could almost hear them, whispers hidden in the smoke. The boy touched the stone with his fingertips, tracing her husband's name. Told you. She slapped his hand away. Don't. Why? You don't touch him. I already did. Her chest trembled. She grabbed his shoulders, shaking him once. Why are you doing this to me? He looked up at her, calm. I didn't light it. You lit it in my head. Number. They did. She released him, stumbling back. Her hands shook, blackened with soot. The villagers were still watching, whispering. Their fear clung heavier than the smoke. A woman's voice broke the quiet. You should send him off before worse comes. She turned, rage raw. You think I'd cast him out in smoke and ash? You'd do that on your own if they came to your door. No one answered. Eyes lowered, boots shifted. Finally, the villagers turned away, one by one drifting down the road, their whispers fading, but not gone. Only the smoke remained, curling from the broken beams. She leaned against the blackened wall, chest heaving. The boy stood close, watching her. You saw, he said. I saw nothing. You saw. She glared, eyes wet. Then tell me what it means. He blinked slowly. It means they won't stay quiet. Her breath rattled. She looked again at the stone, the burned letters dark and sharp. She wanted to scrape them clean, to crush the rock itself, but she couldn't move. Her knees buckled. She sank onto the cold ground. The boy knelt beside her. You believe now, he said. Her voice broke. I don't want to. You don't have a choice. She covered her face with her hands, smoke still burning her throat. She could hear faint whispers in the crackle of cooling wood, in the hiss of steam. Names. Always names. She lowered her hands and stared at the boy. If this is trickery, I'll see through it. If it's haunting, I'll survive it. He didn't answer. Do you hear me? She pressed. Yes. Then say it. Which is it? Trick or haunting? He looked back at the stone. Both. Her breath caught. The blackened wall loomed behind her. The stone base glowed faint with dying heat. Names carved deeper than memory. She trembled, torn between fury and fear, unsure where one ended and the other began. The boy stood, his voice quiet but certain. It's only starting. She was hanging wet clothes on the line when the sound of hooves rose again. This time faster, sharper. Dust lifted from the road. A rider in a dark coat came hard toward the house, a leather satchel strapped across his chest. She stiffened. The boy was sitting near the porch, whittling a stick with a dull knife she hadn't given him permission to use. He looked up before she did. The rider pulled to a stop, dismounted with a clumsy authority, and marched toward the fence. His face was pale, tight, with practiced anger. You the widow, he barked, her hand stilled on the clothespin. I am. He pointed at the boy. And that's the one? Her chest hardened. What business is it of yours? The man straightened his coat. I speak for the governor. The boy muttered almost to himself. Of course you do. The messenger's eyes narrowed. What did he say? She shot the boy with a sharp glance. Nothing. It didn't sound like anything. She stepped forward, voice calm but cutting. Say your piece and be gone. The man sniffed. There's talk. Fires, frost, names of the dead showing themselves, fear spreading. And at the center, a strange boy under your roof. She folded her arms. Fear spreads because folks let it. It spreads because you feed it. I feed no such thing. He gestured to the boy. You shelter him. That's enough. She bristled. He's just a child. The man's lip curled. He's no child. He's a sign. And you're the fool giving him cover. Her voice sharpened. Careful. I'm not here to be careful. I'm here to deliver a warning. The governor will not forgive troublemakers. He'll not suffer from the folk who stir the town against him. She stepped closer, eyes hard. You tell the governor I stir nothing but my own fire in my own land. He's got no claim here. The messenger smirked. Everyone belongs to him, whether you like it or not. The boy's voice cut through suddenly, steady and sharp. You owe him a coin. The man froze, head snapping toward the boy. What? You owe him, the boy said. You pay to keep your post. You pay so your brother doesn't hang for stealing cattle. You pay so your house isn't taken. Color drained from the man's face. That's a lie. The boy shook his head. You know it's not. The messenger turned back to her, voice rising. He's dangerous. You see it now? She kept her eyes on him. I see you shaking. I'm not. You are. The boy stood, tossing the stick aside. Tell them about the bribes, about the coin sacks handed in secret, about the papers burned in the governor's fire. Shut your mouth, the messenger snapped. About the girl taken to his house and not seen again. The man lunged forward, hand raised, but she stepped in fast, blocking his path. You'll not touch him. His voice cracked. He's spitting poison. Her own voice cut like a blade. Then why does it fit your skin so well? The messenger's breath came fast, uneven. His eyes darted from her to the boy and back again. You don't understand, he stammered. The governor sees everything. He forgives nothing. If you protect this boy, you'll answer for it. She didn't flinch. I already do. The boy's calm voice followed, almost quiet. He's right. Power doesn't forgive. It only waits. The messenger's face twisted. You think you can stand against him? You think a widow and a half-wild child can fight over what rules this land? Her voice was low but certain. I think truth bites deeper than rule. The man looked at her long chest heaving. Then he turned, grabbed his reins, and hauled himself onto the horse. This is your last chance, he shouted down. Cast the boy out, or you'll bring ruin on yourself. She met his eyes steady. Then let ruin come. The horse lunged forward, hooves tearing the dirt. The messenger rode hard, his figure swallowed by the dust of the road. Silence fell heavily after his leaving. She turned toward the boy. His face hadn't changed. You shouldn't have said those things, she told him. They were true. Truth gets people killed. They're already dead inside. Her chest tightened. Why bring it here? Why drag me into this fight? He looked past her at the blackened well house, smoke still faint in the air. Because it was already yours. Her body went still. Don't. It was always coming. She shook her head. You're making it come faster. He didn't answer. He only walked back to the porch, sat down on the rail like nothing had shifted. But she knew everything. She turned back toward the empty road, her hands shaking. The governor's shadow now stretched across her yard, heavy as the smoke that hadn't yet cleared, and she understood, at last, there would be no peace now. Not with the boy under her roof, not with truth crawling out of silence. The frost had returned overnight, spreading across the yard like a thin sheet of glass. She stepped outside at dawn and found the boy crouched low by the porch rail. His finger moved slowly, carefully. Letters formed. She froze when she saw the first name. Not her husband's this time, but another she knew. A neighbor who had died years ago, after a quarrel with the sheriff. Her voice cut through the still air. Stop that. He didn't look up. I can't. You will. No. She stepped closer, boots crunching the frost. You don't scrawl the dead like some list in the dirt. He glanced up, eyes calm. It is a list. Her chest tightened. What do you mean? They were wronged. Her breath caught. What do you know about it? Everything. You're lying. I'm not. You're just a boy. You couldn't know these things. He traced another name, this one in ash he'd gathered from the fire pit. The letters stood out dark against the pale frost. She recognized it too. Another man. Another death no one spoke of. Her voice cracked. Where did you hear that? They told me. She snapped. Stop saying that. There's no one telling you anything. There is. You're making it up. He looked at her long, then pointed to the dirt near his feet. With his finger, he wrote again. Steady strokes. The name belonged to a woman she remembered, a A young mother who'd vanished after refusing the governor's demands. Her stomach twisted. "Don't you dare." "She asked me to." "You don't know what you're saying." "Yes, I do." She knelt suddenly, grabbing his wrist. "These are dangerous words. You'll ruin both of us." His voice stayed flat. "It's already here." Her grip tightened. "Do you know what happens when you speak against men like that? Do you know what they'll do?" "They already did it." Her throat burned. She released his wrist, standing quick, pacing across the porch. "You don't understand. You don't understand how things work here. I do. Better than you." Her eyes snapped back to him. "Better than me. You think I forgot what they did? You think I don't carry it every day?" He traced another name. "Then why don't you speak it?" "Because silence is safer." "Safer for who?" "For everyone." He shook his head. "Not for them." She slammed her hand against the porch rail, the sound sharp. "They're dead. They're waiting." Her breath came ragged. "You talk like you've seen it all, but you haven't. You talk like you know their pain, their blood, their graves. But you don't. You can't. I can." "Liar." His calm never broke. "You forget. That's worse than lying." Her eyes stung. "Don't you say that? You forgot Elias. You forgot Ruth. You forgot the girl who never came back from the governor's house." Her voice dropped. "Stop. You forgot your husband, too." Her knees buckled. She gripped the rail for balance, fury and grief colliding inside her. "I never forgot him." "Then why don't you say his name?" Her lips trembled, no sound coming. "You see?" he said quietly. She turned away, pressing her hands hard against her face. The yard felt heavy, the morning air thick with names she couldn't push away. The boy's voice followed her, steady, relentless. "If you don't remember them, no one will. If you don't speak to them, the sheriff wins. The governor wins. The ones who did this keep winning." She spun back toward him. "And what would you have me do? Shout their names in the square? Paint them on my door? You think that would save them? That would save us. It would make them see. It would get me killed." He stood now, small but unshaken. "You're already dying. Every day you stay quiet." Her chest heaved. She wanted to strike him, to shake the strange calm out of him, but instead she grabbed the bucket by the steps and hurled water across the frost. The name smeared, dripping into nothing. "There," she said, breathless. "Gone." The boy looked at the wet boards, then back at her. "Not gone. Never gone." Her hands trembled as she set the bucket down. "You'll not write another, not in frost, not in dirt, not in ash. Do you hear me?" "Yes." But his tone carried no surrender. She stepped close, voice low and raw. "These names carry weight. They can bury us both. Do you understand that? They already buried them." Her eyes burned. "Why do you do this to me?" "I'm not doing it to you. I'm doing it for them." She turned away, gripping her arms tight, trying to steady her breath. The morning sun was rising now, melting the frost. The names faded quickly, but she could still see them, etched into her memory like scars. The boy's voice followed, quiet but certain. "You'll remember now." Her whisper was sharp. "I remembered long before you came." "Then say them." Her silence was enough. He sat back on the porch rail, swinging his legs, watching her with steady eyes. She stood frozen in the yard, trembling, the weight of every unspoken name pressing down heavier than before. The list was gone from the frost, but not from her. The sound came just past midnight, a long, slow creak of wood groaning open. She sat up in bed, breath caught. The barn door. She pulled her shawl close and stepped out into the cold. The yard was still, the moon faint through thin clouds. The barn door swayed open though no wind stirred. She whispered to herself, "Not tonight." The boy was already outside, sitting on the porch rail. His voice carried across the yard. "It wants you." Her head snapped toward him. "Stay there." He didn't move. "You'll see." She tightened her shawl and walked toward the barn. Each step sank in frost. Her hand trembled as she pushed the heavy door wider. The smell of hay and dust rose up, but beneath it something older lingered. Inside, the lantern light from her hand caught on something folded over a beam. A quilt. Her chest ached. She stepped closer, fingers brushing the fabric. It was rough, familiar. Her husband's old work shirt sewn into pieces. She staggered back. "No." The boy's voice came from the doorway, low. "Yes." She turned on him. I never made this. I know. Then who did? The ones who remember. Her voice shook. That's not an answer. It's the only one. She unfolded the quilt. Her breath caught when she saw the lining, names stitched in uneven thread, one after another, the same names the boy had traced, the same she had tried to wash away. Her knees weakened. She whispered, "How is this here? They brought it. Who? The dead." Her voice cracked sharp. "Stop saying that. It's true. You think this is a game? You think tormenting me is some kind of justice. It's not tormenting. Then what is it? Memory." Her hand clutched the quilt, her husband's fabric warm against her palm. She felt like it had been waiting, heavy with everything she hadn't spoken. "You don't know what it means," she said. "I do." "No, you don't. I told you, the dead don't stay buried when the living still lie." Her head snapped toward him, fury rising. "I never lied." He looked at her steadily. "You kept silent. That's the same." Her chest heaved. "I kept silent to survive. And they died." She gritted her teeth. "Don't you dare put that on me. It's already on you." Her eyes burned. She dropped the quilt onto the straw and turned away. "You're cruel." "I'm honest." She shook her head. "You're a child repeating shadows. You don't know this house, this land, this pain." His voice cut flat. "I know enough to sew their names." Her breath broke. "You didn't sew this." "I did." "You couldn't have." "I could." "Not with his shirt. Not with fabric that's been gone since—" She stopped herself, biting down on the words. "Since he died," the boy finished. She shut her eyes. "You miss him," he said. Her voice cracked. "Every day." "Then why hide him?" Her hands trembled as she picked the quilt back up, pressing her face to the fabric. His scent was long gone, but the memory came sharp, unbearable. She whispered, "Because if I carry him, I will fall apart." The boy's words came like a knife. "You already have." Her knees gave, and she sank to the straw, quilt clutched in her arms. She wept into the fabric, her sobs filling the barn's silence. The boy stepped closer, standing over her. "They want the truth, that's all." Her voice broke through the tears. "And if truth kills me, then you'll join them." Her head lifted, eyes red. "Do you even hear yourself?" "Yes." "You speak like death is nothing." "It's not nothing, it's louder than you think." Her chest shook. "Then tell me, why him? Why my husband?" The boy crouched, meeting her eyes. "Because he didn't deserve what they did." Her breath caught. "You don't know what they did." "I do." Her voice dropped to a whisper. "Tell me then." He paused. "They silenced him because he wouldn't bend." Her tears came harder. She turned her face away, clutching the quilt tight. "You knew," the boy said. Her voice shook. "I suspected. I never proved." "You didn't have to. You felt it." She rocked slowly, the quilt heavy in her arms. The barn felt smaller, walls pressing in, silence thick as the fabric itself. The boy stood again, his voice calm but certain. "It won't stay quiet." Her whisper was raw. "What won't?" "The land, the names, him." She pressed her forehead to the fabric, whispering through her sobs. "Then God help me." The boy stepped back into the shadows. "He won't." Her head rose, eyes wide, breath sharp. "Stop saying that." "It's true." She stared at him long, her anger breaking against the weight of his certainty. Then she lowered her gaze back to the quilt, tracing the rough stitches with trembling fingers. Every name was there, every silence she'd chosen. The barn was quiet again, but the silence no longer felt empty. It carried weight, it carried memory, and she knew it would never let her go. They came at dusk, gathering in the square like smoke pulled by a wind. Lanterns swung from posts, their glow casting long shadows. She stood stiff at the edge, the boy close at her side. The sheriff called them all forward, his voice hard and heavy. "Neighbors," he began, "you've seen what she harbors. You've seen the signs. This boy brings unrest, names of the dead, fires, whispers of curses. It ends tonight." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Faces turned toward her, some with pity, more with fear. She lifted her chin. "He's no curse. He's just a child." The sheriff's glare cut through her. "A child doesn't burn names into stone." The boy spoke then, his voice plain and steady. "I didn't burn them. They burned themselves." A gasp broke from the crowd. The sheriff pointed at him. "Hear that? Blasphemy from his own mouth." The boy stepped forward. Not blasphemy. Truth. The sheriff sneered. What truth does a stray know? The boy's eyes swept across the faces gathered. I know who stole coins from the church box. I know who buried a stillborn in the governor's field. I know who held down a girl while her screams went unanswered. Gasps. A woman covered her mouth. A man staggered back, pale. The sheriff barked, Lies! The boy's voice cut sharper. I know your hands too, Sheriff. I know the graves you walk past and pretend not to see. The sheriff's face flushed red. Enough. The widow stepped forward, her voice breaking. Stop this, both of you. But the boy didn't stop. I know your father's grave. I know the shame you never buried with him. The sheriff lunged forward, fists clenched, but two men held him back. Shouts burst from the crowd. Is it true? He speaks too plain. He's a demon. He's a prophet. The widow shouted above them. You're letting fear speak louder than sense. A woman in the crowd yelled back. Then why do his words sting like they're ours? The boy's voice rang clear. Because they are. Silence dropped heavy for a breath, then broke into chaos. Men shouted denials, women wept, children clung tight to skirts. Secrets were tumbling loose, stirred by his blunt words. The sheriff shoved free of the hands holding him. He's tricking you. He's using your guilt to twist you against your own. The boy shook his head. You twisted yourselves. The widow grabbed the boy's arm. Enough. But the boy turned to her, eyes steady. You know it too. You've stayed silent. That's how they win. Her breath hitched. She wanted to deny it, but the truth clawed at her throat. The sheriff raised his voice. This ends now. She harbors him. She answers with him. Do you want peace? Cast them both out. The crowd roared, split down the middle, half shouting for exile, half caught in fearful silence. She turned to the people, voice raw. You know me. You know my husband. You know what we gave this town. And now you'd cast me aside because a child speaks words you can't bear. He's not just a child, someone muttered. He's pulling rot out from under your nails, she snapped back. And you hate him because he doesn't let you hide. The sheriff's voice thundered. Don't listen to her. She's blinded by grief. The boy cut in, cold and precise. She's the only one who sees. Shouts rose again, voices colliding like storm winds. Accusations spilled from every side. Old feuds flaring, shame unspooling. The trial had no walls, no order, just fire in the throats of the guilty. The widow stood still in the chaos, her body trembling. She watched them unravel, neighbors she'd known her whole life. Fear had stripped them bare, and the boy had given it a voice. Her voice fell soft but cut through. You'll never bury it again. You hear me? Never. The sheriff turned on her, eyes burning. Then you'll carry the weight with him, alone. The crowd fell quiet, leaving her standing in the center with the boy at her side. Lantern light flickered across their faces. The boy whispered, just loud enough for her to hear. Now you see. Her lips trembled. I see. The trial was over, but no verdict came. Just silence, broken hearts, and her own certainty that there was no turning back. The frost came heavy before dawn. She saw it first from her porch. Every fence, roof, and window glazed white, shimmering faintly, like the ground itself was whispering. Names stretched across every surface. Not just one, not a handful. Hundreds. Her breath hitched. She stepped out barefoot onto the frozen boards. The letters shone clear in the weak morning light. Rows of names she knew, names she'd buried, names she'd tried to forget. The boy stood at the yard's edge, calm as ever. Now they see. Shouts rose down the road. Doors slammed, dogs barked, people spilled into the street. Panic rippled through the town as eyes caught the names on their own homes, on barns, on wells. She wrapped her shawl tighter and whispered, What have you done? The boy turned to her, steady. I didn't. Don't lie. They wrote themselves. Her hands shook. Don't you dare put this on them. It is them. Before she could answer, the sheriff rode in fast, his horse steaming in the cold. He dismounted hard, boots crunching over frost-lettered earth. His face was pale, jaw clenched tight. He pointed at the boy. This ends now. She stepped between them. You'll not touch him. The sheriff's voice cut sharp. He's brought this. Every fence, every wall, cursed with names of the dead. You think folk will stand for that? She held firm. Folk should stand for truth. This isn't true. It's madness. It's what you buried coming back. His eyes burned. Enough. The boy spoke, calm and cutting. Your father's name is there too. The sheriff flinched. Shut your mouth. On the church window, on the well by the square. He wanted you to see. The sheriff's hand twitched near his belt. Another word and I'll— You'll what? She snapped. Strike down a child because he speaks what you can't bear? The sheriff turned on her. Don't pretend you're not part of this. You shelter him. That makes you guilty. I shelter the truth. You shelter danger. Her voice rose. The danger's always been you. You, the governor, the families who silence anyone that stands against you. The sheriff's face flushed red. You'll hand him over. No. You will. I won't. You'd risk your life for him. She steadied her voice. I already have. The sheriff's eyes narrowed, scanning her like he wanted to break her will. Do you understand what you're saying? Yes? You're saying goodbye to peace. There was never peace. The boy stepped forward, small but unyielding. She sees now. The sheriff's rage cracked. What do you see, woman? You see your land burned? Your name dragged through the mud? Your husband's grave was trampled? Her voice broke but held steady. I see what he died for. I see what you hid. The sheriff spat in the frost, the spit freezing on a name. Then you'll fall with him. Around them, townsfolk gathered, whispers rising like wind. Some stared at the names on their fences, their roofs. Some wept, some prayed, some only watched with hollow eyes. She faced them, her voice raw. You know these names. You know what they mean. You've carried the silence the same as me. But silence won't save you anymore. Murmurs rippled, uneasy. The sheriff barked, Don't listen. This is poison. The boy's voice rang clear. It's a memory. Shut him up, the sheriff shouted. No, she said, standing firm. I won't. The sheriff's fists clenched, his breath steaming in the cold. He looked at her long, then at the boy, then at the glowing names all around. His voice dropped low. Dangerous. You've chosen wrong. Her whisper cut back. Number, I've chosen the truth. The silence stretched heavily. Frost glittered with names that would not fade. The sheriff turned, mounted his horse, and pulled the reins hard. This won't be forgotten, he warned. She stared up at him, her voice steady. That's the point. He rode off, hooves cracking over ice. The crowd slowly broke apart, whispers trailing like smoke. Some looked at her with fear, some with awe, none with certainty. She stood in the yard, the boy beside her. The frost still gleamed across every surface, names etched in light, names that would not be erased. Her breath trembled. She knew then the weight was hers now, to carry truth, to speak it, no matter what came. The boy whispered, almost gentle, Now it begins. She nodded once, eyes fixed on the glowing names. Then let it go. The frost lay thick again, brighter than before, stretched across the porch rail like glass. She stepped out, breath sharp in the cold. The boy was already there, crouched low, his finger moving slow. She froze when she saw the letters. It was her name. Her throat closed. What did you write? He looked up, calm. Yours. Her voice cracked. Erase it. No. You will. I can't. You will, she snapped. He held her gaze. It's already written. Her chest heaved. Why mine? It was next. Next for what? He straightened, his small frame steady against the cold. For truth. Her hands trembled. You don't carve truth into frost. Yes, I do. You don't know what you're doing. I do. She stepped closer, eyes wet. Say it plain then. Why my name? His voice dropped low. Because you never knew why he died. Her breath caught. Don't. He told me. Her voice cracked. Stop lying. I'm not. You are. He stared at her. It wasn't fate. It wasn't an accident. Men chose it. Her body stiffened. No. They ordered it. Her heart pounded. Who? Men you trusted. Her lips trembled. Don't you dare. They feared him. They wanted him gone. And they made sure he was. Her knees weakened. She gripped the rail, eyes on her name burning white against the frost. She whispered, You're cruel. He shook his head. He wanted you to know. Her voice broke. Why through you? Because you wouldn't listen to yourself. Her tears slipped hot down her face. You don't understand what you've done to me. I freed you. Number, you've broken me. You were already broken. She shook her head hard. I kept going, without knowing why, without truth. That's not going. That's hiding. Her sobs rose, raw and harsh in the morning air. She pressed her hands to her face, then dropped them, trembling. You said men I trusted. Who? He was silent. Tell me. You already know. Her chest ached. Say it. The sheriff, the governor, the ones who stood by while it happened. Her body went still, her eyes burning with fury and grief. You don't know that. I do. Her whisper cracked. How? Because he told me. She staggered back, pressing a hand to her mouth. The boy's voice was quiet now, almost gentle. He wanted you to stop carrying the silence. He wanted you to see what was done. Her body shook. And what do I do with it? Stand. Her breath came shallow. Against them? Yes. They'll kill me. Maybe. She turned her eyes to the frost, her own name shining among the dead. Her voice dropped to a whisper. Why me? Because you're the last one who will. Silence pressed heavy. She stepped into the yard, her boots crunching over the frozen ground. The air burned her lungs, her hands trembling at her sides. The boy followed with his eyes still as stone. She stopped and looked back at him. Her voice was raw but steady. Stay. He tilted his head. You mean it? Yes. You told me to go before. I was blind before. Her breath broke, but her words held. Now I see. The boy nodded once, quiet. She stood tall in the yard, the frost gleaming like a ledger at her feet. Her husband's name shone among the rest. Her own name burned bright beside his. The morning light grew stronger, striking the frost until it glimmered as though alive. She felt the weight of every name, every silence, every truth long buried. She didn't run. She didn't deny. She chose. Her voice carried into the stillness. Then let them come. The boy's whisper followed, calm and certain. They already are. She stared at the frost, her hands trembling, her body firm. For the first time since his death, she felt her husband close, not in silence, but in truth. And she knew she would not fade quietly. The frost shimmered across the land, a book of the dead that would not vanish, a truth that could no longer be buried.